All right, weather for Weather Geeks time here on Tuesday evening, the 8th day of January, not the 8th day of June or May or any other day when we might have a tornado in our part of the region. On January 8th, we had an EF1 tornado today. What a day it has been. Yes, a little unexpected. We had the chance, of course, for showers today. Small chance of thunder, but it blossomed into a stormy day that also included an extremely rare January tornado in parts of Trumbull County. This is going to be a long video. We got a lot to talk about this evening. We're going to focus, of course, on today's severe weather, but then we're going to pivot quickly into the snow and the wind and the cold that is coming. First, a review of how rare this was. This is some, I'll look at some stats as far as January tornadoes are concerned. Today's tornado in Trumbull County, our first tornado in the television viewing area, which we consider to be Trumbull, Mahoning, Columbiana, and Mercer, maybe Lawrence sometimes as well, over in Western PA. A lot of people try to get us in Lawrence, but cable systems don't necessarily play along nicely. But anyway, first one in our TV viewing area in January since at least 1950. We have a good tornado database that dates back to 1950. Before then, it gets pretty sketchy. But at least since 1950, this is the first one in January. This is only the 7th since 1950 in the whole state of Ohio, and the first January tornado in Ohio, anywhere in Ohio, since 1997. There was a tornado in Wayne County in east central Ohio in January of 1997. So it's been 22 years. Very, very rare to have any tornado in our region in January, let alone an EF1 tornado. I mean, EF0 tornadoes are, still a serious thing, but an EF1 packs some pretty strong winds, of course. We'll look at the stats here in just a second. This is where the tornado was. It touched down, of course, west of Mosquito Lake and pretty close to the Trumbull County Fairgrounds, and then moved over Mosquito Lake, and then came ashore on the east side of Mosquito Lake over into the Cortland area. And as far as the stats, EF1 maximum winds 95 to 100, according to the survey by the National Weather Service in Cleveland. The path length that I just showed you, that's about 4.5 miles or so, close to 5. And the width of the tornado, also pretty impressive, at 75 yards for the width. The videos and the pictures that we've seen today on social media and that have been emailed to us have been very, very impressive. I'll tell you what, it has been one whale of a day. We're going to ignore that. That's an old stat from an old graphic. All right, here's a look at the rotation tracks from our tornado this morning. This did not have a severe thunderstorm warning on it. And as always, when there's no warning on a tornado-warned storm, there's some mild controversy or some gnashing of teeth over why there was no warning. And the answer is, it happens sometimes. Sometimes, especially lower-end tornadoes, and dare I say, especially in the dead of winter, tornadoes are not warned. They just happen too quickly. This started to show a little bit of rotation around Champion, but the rotation blossomed very quickly once it got there to the east. And by the time the tornado touched down, it was only a minute or two later, and the Weather Service in Cleveland just did not have time to issue the warning before the touchdown itself. When we look at the velocity data off the Cleveland radar, I'm going to back this up and pause it. There's your tornado right there. It's that yellow blip. Sometimes when we show you the velocity data, we have a nice clean green next to red couplet. Oftentimes we do not, especially in our area, which is kind of between the Cleveland and Pittsburgh radar. You don't see that nice couplet sometimes. This is one of those cases where the couplet was not necessarily a textbook. It was noticeable to a trained eye, but certainly not textbook, I would say. And they finally did issue a warning. The Weather Service in Pittsburgh issued a warning for northwestern Mercer as this approached Mercer County, but it did not produce a tornado once it lifted over the Cortland area. That was the lone tornado across the region today. This is more of a hail event in the grand scheme of things across northern Ohio into western PA. Lots and lots of hail reports, lots and lots of hail pictures sent in to us at weatherpics@wfmj.com. It's shared on social media today. So thanks to everyone for showing us those pictures. It was pretty impressive. Actual accumulations of hail. It kind of looks like a snow accumulation, but it was, of course, hail. It was very warm today. The reason for the tornado today, not necessarily the warm air. Yes, it was warm for January, but it wasn't nearly as warm and, most importantly, not nearly as humid as it oftentimes is in the spring and summer. It had more to do today with the wind shear. We had a really high amount of shear. What that means is, in case you're new to this idea, the change in both wind speed and wind direction as you go up through the atmosphere. So in other words, the winds are blowing from a certain direction here at the ground and then a much different direction aloft. And sometimes if everything comes together just right, you get a spinning motion that can turn into a funnel cloud, which sometimes produces a tornado. It had a lot to do with the wind shear today. Temperatures are cooling quickly this evening. It's a lot colder to our north and west. These are the wind chills. It's not going to get that bad here, but just a reminder, yeah, it's January. Mother Nature is going to remind us big time over the next couple of days that we're still in the dead of winter, despite today's very spring-like weather. Winter weather advisories: Geauga County, Ashtabula County, Crawford County. It turns into a winter storm warning from Erie County up through southwestern New York, including Chautauqua and Cattaraugus counties. The wind, noticeable this evening. It'll be noticeable all night tonight, as of 7:12, gusting to 23 at the Youngstown Warren Airport. All right, what's left this evening is not much. A couple of showers around. Severe weather threat is done. I think by midnight or so, you might start seeing a few snow grains mixed in with raindrops, and then some flurries as we head through the overnight. Now, by 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, I would expect almost nothing to be on the ground. As we get into the daylight hours tomorrow, I think this is when the snow shower activity becomes more pronounced and more impactful. We'll talk about the snow in just a second, but first the cold. These are the wind chills tomorrow morning. This is not going to be fun. After a very balmy start to the day today and temperatures in the upper 50s this afternoon, wind chills tomorrow morning in the lower and middle teens, and those wind chills will probably stay in the teens all day tomorrow and drop into the single digits tomorrow night into Thursday morning. All right, so tomorrow it's going to be, I've been talking about this week, that this is not a snowstorm. This is classic lake effect, and when you have this abrupt of an air mass change, and the Great Lakes are relatively warm compared to the air mass that's pushing in, you can have very changeable conditions across our region. And what that means is it's not going to be the same kind of weather all day tomorrow. Yeah, it's going to be windy and cold all day, but as far as snow is concerned, these are going to come and go. These are going to reduce visibility very quickly as they meander around. They're very fickle and unpredictable as to where these will decide to meander. Now, of course, with lake effect, the most numerous and most intense snow showers will probably be centered up towards the primary snow belt, Geauga, Lake, Ashtabula County, over into northwest PA, closer to Erie. But, we've got a pretty good secondary snow belt that gets down into our TV viewing area, including especially Trumbull and Mercer counties. And those will be where the snow showers should be most numerous. And right into the day on Thursday, there'll probably be some lingering flurries and snow showers, especially in the morning hours. Then finally, we get a breather on Friday. Here's a look at our model spread for the Youngstown Warren Airport near Vienna in southern Trumbull County. As you can see here, 1 inch to 2, fairly common on our modeling here. I think that's generally the right idea, although this will be a fluffy, what we call a high ratio snow. In other words, it's probably not a 10-to-1 snow to liquid ratio. It's probably more like at times a 15 to 20 to 1 ratio, which means you can't really make good snowballs out of this stuff. It'll be kind of that powdery, fluffy stuff that accumulates more efficiently than the wet, goopy stuff. So when you have higher ratios, sometimes you can squeeze out more snow with less moisture available to squeeze out. As far as accumulation totals, this hasn't really changed much since yesterday. Pretty standard lake effect stuff here with 1 inch to 2 or 3 in a lot of our TV viewing area. Some places much closer to 1 inch. Some places probably get close to 3 or so. If you're going to get more than 3, it's most likely, again, usual suspects here. From, maybe Champion and Newton Falls on north towards Mespo, heading across towards Kinsman, Greenville, and into the northeastern corner of Mercer County. Now, could someone in the lighter blue get 4 in total between Wednesday and Thursday? I can't rule that out, but a good average will be 1 to 3 in a lot of places. Now, the accumulations are not the most important thing with lake effect. The impacts are the most important thing. And again, look for changeable, variable conditions on your travels, especially if you're heading north on 11 or 79 and up into, the prime lake effect real estate up in Ashtabula County, Crawford County, PA, Erie County, PA. So reductions in visibility could be our number one impact, and this will be a wind-driven snow, so even when it's not snowing, if you get a ½ inch of snow and then it stops snowing but the wind continues, that blowing snow, even if it's just a little dusting or a ½ inch, that can reduce the visibility as well. As long as the road crews are out there, I don't expect tremendous problems on the roads except in the heaviest squalls, which, heavy whiteout squall, no amount of salt is going to help you out. It's going to get slick in those kind of situations. All right, after our breather on Friday, I think it's going to snow again Saturday. This will not be lake effect, though. This will be more of everyone's in the same boat kind of a deal. This probably starts in the afternoon on Saturday as this low-pressure area scoots to our south, and I would expect this to accumulate and then taper off as we go into late Saturday night and Sunday morning. We're not going to put numbers in for this just yet because we've got our lake effect in front of us. But I'm thinking something on the order of 1 to 2 to 3 inches will be pretty common with that start of the weekend snow. It's not first thing Saturday morning. It's more Saturday afternoon into Saturday night and early on Sunday. So plenty of winter to talk about after today's remarkably stormy day. I'm going to have some updates on the snow map and everything else you need to know this evening on social media. A full recap of the severe weather, of the snow and the cold and the wind that's coming tonight on 21 News at 11. I know this video was long. A lot of information. Thanks for hanging with me. And I'll see you later here tonight. I might do a Facebook Live before the 11 o'clock news tonight.